Hi, everyone. Anthony Fantano here, the internet's busiest music nerd. I'm a bit scruffier, but goddamn, I look the same in this video. This is me 10 years ago doing a review of Frank Ocean's Channel Orange. Obviously, the record is a decade old at this point. Hard to believe. Feels like it was yesterday. Goddamn. I'm going to go over the review, which I'm surprised is a meager 8 minutes and 34 seconds. However, there was no way I could have anticipated the insane classic status that this record would have gained over the years. Even though there was like a lot of love for it out of the gate, I enjoyed it as well, but maybe not as much as some other people did. With that being said, though, I'm going to go over my review, give some additional thoughts on the record as I have had more time to digest it, obviously, and see if there's anything about this review that I still agree with, maybe disagree with, stuff that I would have said, yeah, let's give this a watch, let's give this a view, and see what it's got going. Frank Ocean, Channel Orange, album review, ba-bam.
Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a very highly anticipated review, Frank Ocean's Channel Orange. This guy's an R&B singer and a member of the California rap collective Odd Future. And I would say with releasing very little material, he has pretty much proven himself to be the most talented and worthwhile member of the group.
Whoa. I mean, that is still arguable to this day. But like the quality gap between Frank's work and the work of someone like, let's say, Tyler, for example, is a lot narrower than it was at one time. Keep in mind, like my frame of reference for both artists around this time, Frank's mixtape, this project, and with Tyler, it was like Bastard and Goblin, and I freaking hated Goblin. I don't think that statement is completely out of the realm of accuracy, but I think it only makes the most sense when you consider this review came out in 2012. Is that something I would say in 2022? No, I would not.
He's definitely the one with the most crossover appeal too. And that shows in the projects he's been involved in ever since he made a splash with his debut mixtape, Nostalgia Ultra. Ever since that thing dropped last year, he has been on Kanye and Jay-Z's Watch the Throne, and also under his belt some ghostwriting too, because he's written songs for Justin Bieber, John Legend, Beyonce, and his voice and his songwriting style has definitely put him at the forefront of this recent strain of experimental and adventurous R&B artists, which, I mean, let's face it, pretty much the two biggest artists in that arena are Frank Ocean and The Weeknd.
Yeah, I mean, it really was The Weeknd and Frank Ocean making this alternative R&B splash around this time, and it's kind of interesting that, they really kind of held on to that title for the entirety of the decade. Just kind of interesting to consider the hype that they had going for them around this time and how that has manifested into like some really long-term, influence as far as these styles and these genres go. Because look, I mean, a lot of artists come and go and have a lot of hype out of the gate, but then kind of disappear seemingly after a few years. And it's great that that happened to neither Frank or Abel.
Both of whom I feel like have very modernized takes on classic R&B and soul artists. The Weeknd, for sure, to me is a very dark and tortured and drug-addled version of Michael Jackson, where Frank Ocean, by contrast, is much more of a Stevie Wonder, Martin Gaye kind of guy. And when it comes to modern R&B, I feel like Frank has one of the weaker voices out there right now.
In the Nostalgia Ultra and Channel Orange era, if you could call it that, like, yeah, Frank's vocals were not the strongest. Did his singing improve onto his next couple of projects? Yes. But I think ultimately with Frank, the appeal is in how earnest his delivery comes across, not necessarily how flashy or technical he comes across. Now, I think it is to a point where it is slightly to his detriment on Ultra and on Channel Orange. But now that I know in my head where he ended up going artistically, it's kind of easier to see what he was shooting for, even if there are some tracks that I think have some vocal shortcomings or some slightly underwhelming vocals emotionally, or, kind of feels like his range is a bit limited.
Tracks like Sweet Life and Super Rich Kids, to me, kind of sing the rich kid blues. These kids are coked up. The parents aren't watching them. The help doesn't even really care. I don't really get why or if I should even sympathize with who or what Frank Ocean is singing about.
No, Anthony, no. No, Anthony, no. I'm actually kind of missing the point here. The point of the track or these tracks or a song like Super Rich Kids isn't necessarily to sympathize with the individual on the song, like having gone back and listened to the record again to sort of like refresh my feelings on it. It's really more about illustrating. I mean, it could be about a bunch of different things, but like, you know, ultimately the point of the song is, or the point of the storytelling is that it doesn't really matter how much privilege these kids have access to. If they don't have an emotional connection to anybody, or there's no one concerned for them, or there's nobody actually like taking care of them, they're still destined to lead a pretty depressed and disconnected life where nothing really matters. And that's ultimately kind of the picture that's being painted on that track. It doesn't really matter how much they have access to. They're still miserable. They're still unhappy. They're still listless. They're still going through this extreme sense of malaise that obviously money and money alone does not fix. And, you know, obviously there's worse problems to have in the world than being a bored and, I guess, like emotionally disconnected rich kid. That so much is true. But, you know, it is a point that is being illustrated here effectively. It's a decent track, and you know, the Earl Sweatshirt feature is solid as well on it. And yeah, you know, I don't mean to invalidate, or I don't want to invalidate the meaning or the point of the song. I think I kind of wrote it off on this one prematurely. The fact that Frank has tracks like, you know, Super Rich Kids on this record, and, you know, then not too long later transitions into a story like Crack Rock is a pretty interesting juxtaposition. There are tracks on here where for sure Frank's vocals and his lyrics have grown on me, but I feel like the more I hear this record, the more I just like kind of prefer the sleekness and the simplicity and the atmosphere and the intimacy of Blonde to a lot of what is going on with Channel Orange. Are there production high points on Channel Orange? Absolutely. Fucking Pyramids, like that is still a lengthy, ambitious, multifaceted alternative R&B epic, unlike pretty much anything else in that lane, in that field.
But my number one issue with the track is that I don't feel like it completely justifies its 10-minute length. Nowhere is this song more interesting than at the introduction and the very first chorus. Songs like Monks and Sierra Leone, though Frank is singing and he's hitting the notes, he's got the pitch, there's not really a lot of fire there. When I look at the lyrics of those tracks, I kind of see a lot of abstractions, a lot of disjointed thoughts, and I'm not really seeing a lot of purpose to the song. And it's almost as if Frank's lack of emotion on those tracks kind of confirms that.
Are there some songs where I wish he came off a bit more passionate? Yes, most definitely yes. But I think it was a misfire on my part to sort of like allow that to make me think that there wasn't a lot going on behind, you know, the song, or sort of in the song narratively dog barking, when that's not necessarily the case. I should have known better than to say something or communicate something like that. Dummy.
Pink Matter, though, toward the end of this LP is slow, it's sweet. Frank's performance is great. It's really spacious like the song Bad Religion, but brings a totally different mood. It is a baby maker of a track, and Andre 3000's verse on the song, amazing. Is there an MC out there right now who is better equipped to rap about love than Andre 3000? No.
That's, you know, I wish I didn't look like such a dickhead saying that, but I mean, I still kind of agree with it. I'm surprised I didn't really get into Thinking About You. Didn't really get into Pilot Jones, which has certainly grown on me as one of my favorites on this record. Didn't really talk about the John Mayer feature either. There's some, you know, just general aspects of the record that I wish I kind of just paid more attention to in the original review, that's for sure. I don't think this was my most thorough review. It truly was not. And I'm a little disappointed in myself 10 years later. You know, I can give myself a break given the point in time when this was released, and given the fact that like there was probably no way I would have, you know, been able to know or understand like what was to pan out from this record and Frank past this point. And, you know, in my heart of hearts at the time this record was released, I knew Frank could do better. And in fact, he did. Over here next to my head is another video you could check out. Hit that up, or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Channel Orange. Frank Ocean, review, reassessment, forever.